yourself. We will get a little bit of lateral movement here. So if you're with someone else, get on different planes. But just starting, hands forward, hips back, body weight squats. Begin. Hands go forward, hips back. Good. Sit into the heel. So really working on getting back on these first couple squats and up at the top. So we're opening the front of the hip, lifting the low abs, but not letting the hips slide in front. So we're not extending, we're not shearing through the back, just getting full extension at the top. Good, keep going here. We've got 10 seconds left. Good, so here is gonna be 3 high knees with a pause for balance. So 1, 2, 3, pause for balance, lock it in, stay nice and tall and tight through the core. So you can speed this up as is appropriate, as you can control it. So 1, 2, 3, pause for balance. Keep the knee lifted, push down through the heel so we're engaged in the abs, neutral at the pelvis. As you bring that foot up, pull your toe up and lift the low abs. "15 seconds. Head stays quiet. So we're not bouncing up and down. 3, 2, 1. Good. So this time, pick a hand. As we squat down, you're going to reach down, up. Your eyes can stay down or rotate with you. So squat, reach, up, come up to toes, back down. Stay on that same side. Good. Make sure you stay long through the neck. Think of turning your head. So as you turn your head, turn your ear to the ceiling so that we're not coming into cervical extension. Up to toes or even a little jump. Same hand goes up. 3, 2, 1. Good. The hand that was just going down is going to stay on the ground. Side squat, up, side T, in. So just working on opening up this range of motion, open up the hips. Keep the ribs drawn back. Ten seconds here. Then we're going to go back to that squat and reach, coming up to toes or even a small squat jump in between. 3, 2, 1. So hips back, sit into the heels, stay open with the sit bones connected. That way when we rotate, we're rotating around the spine. We're not extending as we rotate. We're staying neutral, rotating that way. If you can't get the hand all the way down to the ground, that's totally fine. If it feels like it's getting into the low back or the neck, just put your hands on your shoulders and rotate your elbows. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Side step, squat, side T. Keep your feet horizontal so that as you go out, I'm not turning the toe up. The movement comes from this plant leg hip. Again, that spine stays nice, long, and neutral, opening the hip up. If you don't have to put the foot down in between, if you can come to neutral with the hips level, this knee just slightly bent, and then go out, that would be preferred. Neutral, over. So that, again, the shoulders and hips, eyes, shoulders, they're all staying parallel to one another. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. We're going to skip the first squat. We're going back to high knees this time. So continue to alternate 1, 2, 3, up and balance. Try to keep the head quiet. So I'm not bouncing up and down, but the feet are moving underneath. Staying nice and tall through the spine. Pelvis stays neutral. Quick feet, but staying quiet. "30 seconds. Make sure that as that foot comes up, I'm not hiking the hip or letting it sway to the outside. Still trying to keep that neutral in the frontal plane as well as sagittal. 10 seconds. Rest. So last time we did the squat and reach to the side. This time it's going to be a lunge, but the same upper body movement. So as my right foot goes back, my right hand comes down, left hand up, down, forward. Continue on that same side. The back knee can be bent, which will give you a little bit more room. If you want to straighten it out, just be careful that that hip extension doesn't drive you into lumbar extension. We're still rotating around the spine. "15 seconds. Feet stay about hip width apart. And the hips stay square. 3, 2, 1. Side squat, same planted foot, in, over. Making sure that as we change planes of balance here, you're keeping the ball of the foot down as the hip comes back. The toes are spread but relaxed. "30 seconds. Stay long through the neck. So that distance between your ears and your shoulders is the same on both sides. Your eyes are going to go over. 15 seconds. I would not be surprised if your arch is getting pretty tired here. We've done a fair amount of balance and control work. Try to keep those toes spread, weight in the heel. 3, 2, 1. Other foot, step back lunge. Bring that knee all the way through at the top so that as you push your heel down, you're engaging the glute. If you can do it all as one motion, you can kind of combo that. So as you're stepping back, you're already getting into rotation. If it feels like a range of motion that we have to be a little bit cautious with, or if you just haven't had a ton of movement today and you really want to work on getting everything moving very intentionally, go slow, tease out the movements, lunge, then rotate. You certainly don't have to touch the ground here. 3, 2, 1. Side squat, in, side T. Keep the knee aligned with the second toe. Don't just move the knee to do that. Find the pressure in your foot. Find the muscles that are engaged at the hip to keep that alignment. 20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Last one on your feet is going to be a squat to toes or a squat jump. If you're jumping, don't do more than about 5 in a row. Give yourself a chance to come up, clear the hips, find what that end range is, and then go again. Begin. Landing quietly. Hands are forward as the hips are back. Down. Whether you're jumping or just coming up to toes, feel yourself roll through the ball of the foot so you're staying engaged in that first ray, and have your eyes be the last thing that comes up. So if you clear with the head too quickly, it'll drive you into extension, which often leads to extension in the low back as well. 3, 2, 1. Good. Down to the ground. So it's going to be one side dying bug. You can have your foot flat on the ground or up in the air. But either way, take a moment. Big exhale. And as you breathe out, pull your ribs down. Connect the two hip bones to one another and sink just a ½ inch. So we've got that hollow body stomach. And then go in and out. Maintain that position with your abs. Your low back is ever so slightly in contact with the ground, but that contact, the amount of pressure does not change. Keep the chin tucked, neck is relaxed. Exhale as you get long here. These ones are going to be just a little bit longer on the first dying bug. So really focus on your breath, focus on control what's doing the work. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Switch sides. Breathe out. Drop the ribs. Find that hollow body and begin. If it feels like you're getting stuck in the shoulder, you can either widen your hand a little bit or Lead by pulling the shoulder blade down into the ground without letting the rib pop up, but that'll clear that glenohumeral joint and allow you to get overhead a little bit easier, I hope. 20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Side plank, knee down, leg up. So your entire palm is forearm is flat to the ground. We're up from ribs or foot, but the ribs are lifted, long vertical through the upper arm. And then extend that top leg. If you'd like to go from the foot, you may. Begin. If you'd like to pulse, if you feel like you're in between, you can't quite go foot on the bottom leg, but you'd like to get a little more hip, or you just want to get a little more dynamic. Seconds. Keep breathing. Get that top shoulder squared away. Lift the ribs. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides, please. So find that whole forearm lift from the ribs, engage that serratus. It's the muscle that looks like fingers on top of the ribs. And begin. Eyes are about 10 feet in front of you, maybe 3 or 4 feet, what will feel like below eye level. That'll keep the neck nice and long. So again, ear to ceiling. I'm not trying to get my eyes horizontal. 30 seconds. If you need to switch from feet to knees, if you need to take a quick break and reset, don't allow the work to creep into the front of the hip. Try to keep it in that glute. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. The leg that was just in the air is now going to be on the ground as we do a single leg bridge. If single leg is not appropriate, you're going to go double leg with most of your weight in the foot that was on the ground. We can go elbows down or up, but keep the chest open and relaxed. If you're going with just heel, keep the foot vertical. Don't let it spin to the outside. You can also pulse up and down here if you'd like. 30 seconds. $15 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Come down and switch, starting in 5. So breathe out, drop those ribs, connect ribs and hips in front, keep the low back long and relaxed. It might engage a little bit, but it's staying nice and long. Belly button and hips are coming up and back towards what'll feel like closer towards your head than your heel. Pulse or static, your choice. $10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay down on your back. We're going to go right back to the first dying bug. So pick a side and begin. Straighter arm, straighter leg will be harder. Knee up or down, or foot up or down on the static side is your choice. If you need to make it harder still, lengthen the lever of the static side without letting that change the position of your abdomen or the pressure through your low back in the ground, which is slight. We're not just smashing it into the ground. 15 seconds. And rest. If you have to take a moment and do a quick bridge to reset, you may. Other side starts in 3, 2, 1, begin. Again, the position of that static leg is your choice. Don't let the hip flexors take over here. It's okay to feel them working. It's okay to feel a little bit of quad working, especially if you're going from a straight leg, but don't let that change what's going on between the hips and pelvis. Exhale as you get long. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Side plank. Starting in 5, 3. Whole forearm down, and that leg is up again, please. If you want to keep the second hand down to support the ribs and help really lift and engage, you may. You can also just put that hand on the muscle groups that we're trying to isolate. We're connecting the bottom hip and oblique to that top hip. 15 seconds. You can also reach up to the ceiling. If you do that, don't get passive. Really reach up almost like you're pulling yourself up to the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Up and begin. If you need to just kind of play with the neck, move the head around a little bit to reestablish what's neutral, please do. Sometimes in these static positions, we just drift incrementally further and further from where we want to be. So sometimes just moving everything allows you to find that stable place again. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Back to the single leg bridge. This time, if you'd like to pulse up and down, you may. I might have even offered that last time. But just keep the hips horizontal if you're doing that. Don't allow them to swing outside. So you're up and in with the glutes. Connect the sit bones. 35 seconds left on this side. If you are pulsing, remember that you're coming up and back at an angle. If you were to visualize it from the side, if you drew a line from your knee to your shoulders, your hips are traveling perpendicular to that line. They're not traveling vertical. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, down. Other side, and 5, 2, 1, begin. If you feel like you're going to cramp or just can't quite stabilize, can't quite stay out of the back, put the second foot down for stability, but keep the load in the one side. So you're 90-10, 80-20. But don't let that throw the hips off neutral. The whole point of putting that second foot down is so you can stay neutral and not cramp. 20 seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest there. You can grab a quick sip of water. Then you're going to be back up on your feet. So in 30 seconds, we're going to be back with skaters. As big as you'd like here. Just make sure that we're landing quietly, staying aligned through the knee. This one's not so much about control. We're going to use it to bring the heart rate back up. The one that follows this will be about control. Starting in 15. 5. If you want to start now, you may. Big skater control. Stay in the ball of the foot. Out and back. Trying to keep the shoulders and head centered over the hips. So I'm not pushing off and letting those hips lead. And I'm not leaning and then trying to catch back up to it. Upper body moves pretty darn close to vertical through the spine if you're looking at that frontal plane. 30 seconds. If to keep the heart rate up and just stay moving, it's more appropriate to keep it nice and tight. Do that as well. You can do that as well. 10 seconds. Like the squats before, the eyes will stay down just a little bit so that I'm not flaring the ribs, extending the low back or the neck. 3, 2, 1. Good. Now it's going to be squat down on 2, come up and control on 1. So from here, up, toe, balance, step down, do the other side. So we're alternating. If you want to jump, you may, but we're going to come nice and quiet. The higher you jump, the harder this will be. Get that hip back so the knee doesn't dive. Hands go forward to help get those hips back. Three, 2, 1. Good. Rest. Now it's going to be a push-up to stability. So one hand is going to stay planted the entire time. So it's a push-up, and then you can either come to a shoulder tap, back down, stay on the same arm, begin. Or if you want to work in a little more rotation, we've already had a fair amount, but we can do that, reaching elbow up to ceiling. If once you get the elbow up, you want to extend the hand, you may, but make sure the elbow comes up first, then the hand. Don't lead with the hand. 10 seconds. staying on that same side. Or we can just do shoulder taps, trying not to rotate or not to slide. 3, 2, 1. The hand that was planted is now your planted foot on a forward tee. So forward, come back up, bring the knee all the way through to stay nice and long through the spine. Heel goes back, knee comes forward. Toes are spread. By reaching that heel back, we can get the hips back a little further so the weight is still at least 50% in the heel of the planted foot. That hamstring is working while lengthening. 10 seconds. We should feel nice and open in the front of the hip because we have that hamstring engaged. And rest there. Good. Back to skaters, and we're going to hit the other side on the forward tee, other side on the push-up. Begin. So we're using this to drive the heart rate back up. Staying controlled. Hips horizontal, spine more or less vertical if you're looking from the front. 30 seconds. Again, your choice. We can go for size. We can go for speed. Whatever is appropriate. The foot does not cross midline. I'm not swinging and just throwing momentum out. Three, 2, 1. Good. Squat, 2 to 1. Alternating on the 1. Begin. Really stick it on each one. "15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Back down to push-ups. Starting in 2, 1. Elbows in, shoulders down and back. Actively pull those shoulder blades together as you go down. If you've had a tight neck lately, probably stick to that shoulder tap so that we don't tempt that upper trap, levator scapula, scalenes to join in and tighten up the neck. I want to stay nice and neutral. If you do feel like you're starting to get tight in the back of the neck, push your tongue flat to the roof of your mouth by working that opposite muscle group. Hopefully we'll be able to maintain a little bit of relaxation in the back. 3, 2, 1. Good. Forward tees. After the forward tee, we'll be back down on the ground. Begin. Reaching opposite hand towards big toe or both hands, your choice. Keeping the hips level. I'm not opening here. Back foot stays vertical. That'll often help keep the hips horizontal. Feel that length getting pushed into the hamstring, but the hamstring staying engaged and absorbing that length while keeping you pulled back into the heel. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Come down to the ground. So this we're gonna do one side, 2 in a row, and then switch. So starting with the side plank, this time it's going to be static. I'd like to go from feet if you can. If you need to put top foot in front, do. But forearm is down, second hand is optional. More about ab load, a little bit less about the hips than that first one. Again, if we're going hand up, don't let it be lazy. Reach up, pull the shoulder blade down and back as you lift here. 15 seconds. So from here, we're going to go into a skier ab, which means you're going to switch sides as far as the downside in order to work the same side. So I had my right elbow down. I'm going to flip over to my left hip. My right elbow is now coming up towards my knees. And begin. Keep the hand on the ground. The straighter the legs, the longer the lever. But we're staying straight through the spine, hinging at the hip. 30 seconds. $15 seconds. Keep the neck relaxed, hands on the head. 3, 2, 1, rest. So this time, don't roll over. You'll keep the same down hip, but it's going to be a side plank starting in 3, 2, 1. Begin. Using your breath to check in where are the ribs, where are the hips, where's the load in the feet. If we can get on the outside of the foot, or even if we need to stagger, if we can kind of use the edge of the foot to dig down as opposed to rolling all the way over, that'll keep a little bit of pressure out of the knees, but it takes an active ankle to do that. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. Skier abs other side. So elbow down, hand down, head on your head. If you feel like your neck is a little bit fragile here, put your thumb on your shoulder so that you have a reference point. Don't allow that distance to change. Begin. So as I come up, my chin is going to stay the same distance from my chest. My ear, the same position to my shoulder. You can bend your knees if it starts to get into the hip flexors. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. From there, it's going to be a mountain climber. So I'd like everyone to go from from hands. We can go knees, just coming up to that same side without allowing the spine to rock forward or back or down. Push the ground away. Same side, or from toes. Begin. If you're on your hands, get pressure out through those fingertips. So you've got a little bit of work through the flexors of the wrist and fingers. That'll help keep the pressure out of the wrists. If it just feels like too much, you can also go from your fists. So we're nice and long through all those small bones of the wrist. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to continue that marching theme. It's going to be a marching bridge, but see if you can widen your feet ever so slightly. So the goal to be somewhere between hip and shoulder width, tuck, lift, and march. As you march here, you're bringing your knee up. So we're still getting some of that hip flexion, static extension load. So extended and loading through the back here. Trying not to let the hips rotate as you switch. If you need to take a moment with 2 feet down, get stable, bring the other foot up. Please do. Slowing that transition makes it easier for those muscles to get a chance to turn on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back up to your feet. We're going to do skaters. So we're going back to the second standing set. Skaters 2 to 1. We're going to skip the push-up, but still do the forward tees. Begin. As big as you can control here, or as quick as you can control. Five seconds. And rest there. Good. 2 to 1. So hands go forward, come up, hands go forward to help get that hip back, draw it back quickly. So we've landed, we've controlled, and you're alternating. So before was about speed, getting reps in. Here it's about control. Get to that complete stop on each side. And it might just be that we're coming up to toes and then absorbing in. Get those hands forward for the hips to come back. Take that load out of the knee. Draw it into the hip. Three, 2, 1. Forward tee. Pick a foot. You're going to stay on that foot. Knee comes all the way through at the top. Good. Keep going, please. $20 seconds. $10 seconds. Good. Skaters. Right back through those 3. We'll do the forward tee on the other side. Then we'll end on the ground. Hips stay level. Pay attention to your hips and kind of that relative hip rib position. As we start to get tired, it might get smaller and quicker. That's totally fine. 30 seconds. $15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, squat to toes and balance, squat to jump and balance. Starting in 5, 2, 1, up, control, control. Trying to land quietly. So any of that smacking noise, that's force that's not getting dissipated. We're trying to spread it out. The ankle, the arch of the foot, the knee, the hip, all the way out the hands. Ten seconds. Good. Last forward T. Begin. Heel back. Belly button stays up, chin stays tucked. "30 seconds here. If we need to shrink this range of motion in order to stay in control, in order to keep the hip back and the toes spread to prevent from gripping through your calf. Lower leg is working, no doubt, but try to get that hamstring and hip to do most of it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Back down to the ground. Starting with a side plank. Everything's going to be just a bit shorter this last time through. 3, 2, 1. Up. You can go knee down, leg up. We can go from feet. You can go feet, leg up. It's the last one. If you want to pulse that top leg, whatever you, just make sure that we're stable and open through the shoulder. Don't collapse. Ribs and hips are both lifted. The load is behind the seam of your shorts or pants. 30 seconds. "15 seconds. Make sure those fingertips are down, neck is relaxed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Switch sides. Ski your abs. 30 seconds here. We're shrinking this one down from 50 to 30. Begin. "20 seconds. Keep that hand down, neck long and relaxed. Breathe out. Pull the belly button to spine. 3, 2, 1. Stay on that side for a side plank. Starting in 4, 3, 2, 1. And up and begin. Find those fingertips. That's 20 seconds. We got 30 to go. "15 seconds. Keep breathing. Check in with yourself. What are your hips doing? Where's the load? Are your ribs lifted? 3, 2, 1. Good. Ski your abs, same side. So we'll have to switch the downward hip. Starting in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds. I'd rather these be slow, controlled, all the work in that top oblique. Halfway. Don't let those hips pop. 5 seconds. 2, 1. Rest. 30-second mountain climbers, then you are done. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Stay slow, big here. Press the ground away as you pull your chest up between your shoulder blades. "15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. And rest. Thank you for joining me. Shoot me an email if you have any questions about how to find class in the next couple weeks. Thank you.